or at least to my knowledge, listening to today's hip hop, whatever, like we use like trap as an example, and you compare it to the hip hop of the '90s. There's definitely, at least sonically, there's a big difference. But I also feel like, and obviously there are artists today like, uh, what's his name, Kendrick Lamar. You have those guys, but
Hmm.
at least my perspective, and it might be wrong, but my perspective is that most of today's trap, whatever, they don't really take that into account what's happening around them because it's all bitches and hoes and cocaine and money and being cool, you know. And
Maybe on
that
the
was not the
pop side
case.
of things.
Mm.
I mean, it might probably on the maybe on the pop side of things in terms of like what you would say is like popular rap and the charting stuff. I think there's always underground scenes in a lot of that stuff. I mean, a similar vein would be when you're thinking about rock music. Rock music isn't necessarily on the charts as much anymore, and so people think that it's dead, but it's not. It's just more underground. It's less mainstream.
Mm.
So from a mainstream perspective, I think a lot of the like some of the modern hip hop, sure, totally, but there's definitely an underlying scene of stuff that's completely different and kind of keeping with the styles of the 90s and stuff like that. So I think it just kind of goes around seeking out those kinds of people and being able to say, okay, like I want to go into that style, and finding them is kind of what opens up your eyes to the various different types. Because you could be
Mm.
like, if you were trying to talk to somebody about the Mars Volta and you were comparing it to, and they'd only, you said rock music was Blink 182 and the Mars Volta, they're
Mm.
not even remotely the same in
Yeah,
terms
yeah,
of a
yeah,
band to us, but to them, they might think of it the same way because it's guitars. So your guy,
yeah.
it's explaining just the nuances between the two of them, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, you're completely right. I mean, I am being ignorant to some degree, and also maybe not, but yeah, I definitely am sometimes. So yeah, I know that. But
Hey, just
something I was,
dive in and find some stuff. You'll give yourself a good Friday night and just like go and
yeah,
like
exactly.
find some old playlist or something like that and jump into it. I'm sure he can give you some for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but also the problem I have with it is that, like, and yeah, again, I might be wrong here, but it definitely sounds to me like hip hop from the '90s, '80s, I guess. There was a personality because you couldn't just use the same beat as these other thousand artists have used already, the same hi hat fill, which is getting so lame to hear. And back then, you have to have a voice. Like, I know as an hip hop artist, you don't necessarily know how to, you don't need to know how to sing, but back then I definitely felt like you had to have a voice like somehow. Like today it's all auto tune for the hip hop artists. Like yeah, again I'm sounding
Well, I
ignorant
think
and
it's
I am.
yeah, I think it's more of a stylistic thing than anything else. And
Yeah, but
so
it's
if
so annoying. Like just get rid of it. I'm sick of it. You
fair enough,
know.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. I guess, yeah.
I mean, if you're into it, you just want to sound like anyone else, and that's what I'm sick of. You know.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that needs to change, and I hope it's gonna change because, like again, back then, and that might sound so lame, but fuck it, let me sound lame because back then you had to be good, and obviously it's good at the entry level is lower these days. Like anyone can make music perfect. I don't have a problem with that. Like that's really good. That's where you and I are where we are now, also because
Sure.
we could make music easier than the other people could way back. You know, but I still think it's not good when everyone can just use the same plugin and it sounds the same. It sounds boring because I don't know. There's no character anymore. You know.
Sure. Yeah, I
So
mean, I think a lot of it too can also be though if you're using, you end up using the same things. If you're able to get more out of it, like I mean, I would recommend going and checking out J Dilla. Go check out J
right.
Dilla just because he's his the moniker. He passed away actually on my 18th birthday, but I'm 33 now, so dang, it's been a while. But basically, his whole thing is, or he's regarded as your favorite producer's favorite producer because he kind of pioneered being able to get sounds out of things that you wouldn't even believe. Like he could take a hi hat and turn it into a snare or a kick drum or something like that. So I would
Wow.
recommend that. That's definitely start there and then kind of
Yeah, yeah,
go north of there after you kind of go dive into Dilla.
yeah. I will do that, man. Thank you for the
Yeah,
advice.
yeah,
I think I heard some of his stuff, but yeah, definitely to check it out in much greater detail. That's for sure.
yeah.